Welcome, everybody. Tonight is the December 18th, 2023 regular business board meeting of the Lower Merion Board of School Directors. Just for everybody's awareness, tonight is going to be live streamed as well as recorded for public broadcast. It will be on the website after tomorrow for everybody to view. So all participants that are joining via webinar can use the chat feature and that will give us the ability later on in the meeting for you to ask questions. I also want to let everybody be aware that you're going to be recorded. We want to make sure everybody is aware of that. That's not just by the school district, but it also can be for anybody in the audience. So that means you could be recorded for what you say, what you share, if it's at your chair, if it's in the front, wherever you are. So it's for Sunshine Act. We want to make sure everybody's aware of that. We, the board, believe it is very important and in our best interest to listen to everybody in the school community, and it will benefit our students as well as our district. So, given that opportunity later in the meeting, you will have the opportunity for public comment. If you want to have public comment in person, please sign up with Denise during the event, and on the chat feature, it will be later on in the evening, it will open up and there'll be a window of 10 minutes for you to ask questions or share your thoughts and ideas with the board. We strive for public conversation that engages in civil dialogue, so we're excited to see everybody here tonight, both online and in person, and we're gonna have a great conversation tonight about some important issues. So with that all being said, I'm turning it over to Dr. Yanni for your president's report. Superintendent, sorry, don't know who you are.
If you want to call me president, that's fine.
President and superintendent. Hold on, get this. May we switch?
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry. It's telling me that I have to,
Good evening, everyone. I want to focus on a few things tonight. We have been talking about universal full-day kindergarten, and there is a motion on the agenda tonight for the board to consider authorization for the administration to move forward with universal full-day kindergarten in the fall. I want to be really clear about a couple of things and start by saying that immediately following winter break, there will be communication from the district with many of the details that I'm talking about tonight. Let's be honest, no one's reading emails this week. Or let's say few people are reading emails this week. Everyone's reading emails this week. As we think about onboarding or bringing to Lower Merion full-day kindergarten, there is going to need to be an increase in our tax revenue for next year. So the Act 1 index is 5.3%. We'll be talking as we go through the spring, the winter and the spring, talking about some recommendations, but there is no way to bring full-day kindergarten and the number of staff that we need to bring without that tax increase. And so that roughly for the median household is going to be somewhere around a $400 increase. So I want to put that out there. People have been asking a lot about class size. We're not substantively changing class sizes. We may see an additional student or two in classrooms, and that's going to allow us to naturally create capacity to reroute positions to full-day kindergarten. There will be staffing implications. All of the kindergarten positions will not be new positions, so we'll be surveying staff and asking for staff preferences as to what they want to teach, and we want to make sure that we pair people with the grade levels and the content that they're best suited to teach so that our students get the best experiences possible. I also want to bring to your attention one group in particular is our bus drivers. Right now with half-day kindergarten, there are midday runs. That employee group is going to be tremendously affected, and so we've had some initial conversations and we'll continue to have conversations at the personnel level about how to minimize those implications. There will be partner schooling. We know right off the bat, this is not new information, Merion Elementary does not have space for full-day kindergarten. So in January, when communication comes out from the district, part of that communication will be the plan for partner schooling. Professional learning. We have amazing teachers in our district. We'll be taking a half-day program, converting it to a full-day program, and so we want to make sure that we provide not only the right training, but time for our teachers to have the professional learning that they need to make sure that they're well-equipped on day one to teach in that full-day program. And then also registration messaging. We open up registration in January, so there will be a lot of information that's coming out. So far, I've received this fall a lot of communication. Again, January from my office, there will be many of the details about how we're going to move forward. But there is a motion tonight for the board to consider authorization for us to move forward. I want to update the board and the community on some of the things that we've been talking about in our policy committee. So with healthy start times next year, we'll see middle schools start at 8, high schools at 8:30, and elementary schools at 9:10. In order to make this work, we're blessed with resources. Those resources are not endless, and so there are some trade-offs. So we're looking to increase the walking zone from 1 mile to 1.5 miles for our high school students. That will naturally reduce the number of students that will receive transportation, and it will give us the time that we need to finish the middle school runs and get our high school students to school on time. You'll remember, those of you that were on the board and those of you that were listening at the time, in the spring when Ms. Schaefer discussed tentative schedules, high schools start at 8:30. Some of those buses were getting to Lower Merion High School at 8:29. So we have to create room, and we had to think outside of the box, because if we impact the high school day, we're then also going to be impacting all of our elementary runs. So every district that did healthy start times or later start times, there was always some trade-off with transportation, and so that's the direction we're moving. Also in January, you'll be learning about a parent-guardian opt-out process. If we're going to be giving families the option to say that they don't want a seat on the bus or they don't want to participate in our transportation system. There's going to be some parking pass implications for our students at the high school. So if you get a parking pass, you won't be assigned district transportation. And then there will be a number of communications that come out throughout the winter and the spring and the summer as we gear up for the start of next school year. And just a point of clarity, when we talk about increasing the walking zones, I want to be really clear that students that are guaranteed specialized transportation because they have a documented need in their IEPs, that does not apply to that population of students. There's some good news happening across the district. So the National Foundation of Advancement of Artists recently announced that 2 of our high school students, 2 of our Heritage students, Alyssa and Sydney, have been named 2024 award winners. So they're the first picture that's up there. Our 3rd graders from Gladwin Elementary went to Waterworks, and they actually did some testing of the water in the Schuylkill River and actually learned that the Schuylkill River habitat is better quality now than it was many years ago. So that's an example of one of our residencies where students have critical learning experiences that are attached to the curriculum. The 3rd picture up there, Lower Merion High School had a very successful blood drive benefiting the American Red Cross, so we congratulate the students and staff that participated in that. Lower Merion High School Science Olympiad started a club with some of our elementary students at Kinwood and Penn Wynn to bring a love of STEM. So we're thankful for the students that did that. And one of our school board members, Kimberly Garrison, will be part of the 2024 PSBA International Study Group. I believe Germany, is it Germany? So members of, school board members from across the state that are part of this group will travel to Germany. They'll study their education system, and they'll be bringing back their learning and making some recommendations for changes in Pennsylvania schools related to curriculum, culture, facilities, and operations. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. Congratulations, Kimberly. That sounds really exciting, and we're excited to hear what you learned from Germany.
Well, I am very excited. We had our first meeting this morning, and there are 20 folks from the state of Pennsylvania going to Germany and participating in this. And I did live in Germany, many, many moons ago. And so it'll be nice to return and see things.
Fantastic, exciting. Now we get to hear from our student representatives. So Harriton High School, Alessandra, would you like to give us an update for what's going on at Harriton?
Of course. Good evening, everyone. To introduce myself to the new members of the school board, my name is Alessandra Simmons. I am a senior at Harriton High School. This was my second year in the position, and I am also an IB senior. Harriton had a busy month. Harriton's Bex robotics team hosted teams from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware for a competition where the Rams placed 5th, 8th, 15th, and 16th respectively in the Skills Challenge. As Dr. Yanni mentioned, 2 Harriton High School students were recognized for their talents by the Young Arts Competition, Sydney Blue Garcia Yao for writing and nonfiction, and Alyssa Gabrilovich for classical music and piano. Also in the arts, Harriton's Zenith Club and NAHS, National Art Honor Society, collaborated to create a winter wonderland in the Ram lobby and cafeteria. The library's Ram space was turned into a winter workshop, giving students the opportunity to make their own holiday gifts with the school cricket and other arts materials. Several of Harriton's musicians were selected to be on this year's PMEA band and orchestras. Senior Jane Chen for the oboe was selected for both band and orchestra. Senior Aiden Hsu for the viola, and freshman Ethan Hsu for the cello. In athletics, several athletes made it to the 2023 all-mainline girls soccer teams, with Ariel Katz and Nina Cantor making it to first team, and Ella Karasik making it to second team. Winter springs are now in full swing, with boys and girls basketball, wrestling, and swim and dive all practicing regularly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Maya, you're going to tell us about Lower Merion High School?
Yes. So, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Lower Merion student body, I would like to welcome all the new board members to the Lower Merion School community. Congratulations are in order for our seniors as they continue to commit to their selected future schools. Winter sports are off to a great start, and we're excited to see how well they continue to perform. LM Science Olympiad has started a strong year with 45 students competing at the competitive international. The teams placed 14th, 15th, and 21st overall out of 60. On November 16th, Lower Merion High School held its annual blood drive benefiting the American Red Cross. The ACEs collected 85 pints of blood, which can help save more than 250 lives. The Best Buddies Club will be hosting a holiday party tomorrow, December 19th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in the cafeteria. The ACEs are kicking off the K-5 Virtual Homework Help Program, which is a free resource being offered by Build On. Lower Merion students have the chance to volunteer and assist elementary school students in need of academic assistance. This program aims to supplement in-class instruction and help younger students with difficult subject areas and homework assignments in a welcoming, supportive, and productive environment. Sessions will be held using Zoom and will take place on a weekly basis. Winterfest will be taking place this Friday, December 22nd. During this time, our school collects non-perishable food items and toiletries, as well as other items to donate to shelters around Philly. The Student Council Underclassmen Committee is hosting a Sparkle Spelling Bee competition on Thursday, December 21st during Lunch and Learn. All proceeds will go to our Mini-Thon fundraiser, which raises money for childhood cancer. The Mini-Thon itself will be taking place on January 3rd. Build On is also hosting the Martin Luther King Afternoon of Service on January 12th in the Harriton High School gym from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Next week is winter break, and we cannot wait. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to the Lower Merion District community. See you in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, and we're in total agreement, and that we cannot wait as well. We understand if you have to sneak out, because you still have a week left of school, so that's totally fine. Okay, committee reports. We're doing something a little differently with committee reports. They are all on the board docs, so if you want to dive into the committee reports, they are on there. If you want to dive into the riveting committee meetings that we have had this week, you can also dive in there. But what we're going to do is really quickly ping around and give you the highlights of each meeting. So real quick, I'll give you communications. Anna is away this week. Communications, I mean, you just got a second sneak peek at communications by Dr. Yanni's report. There was information about onboarding for Dr. Yanni. There is a new podcast that can also be found on the website that you can check out. Some website updates about making practices public that you've heard Dr. Yanni speak about a few times. And just a few more updates. There's driver ads for Clipper magazine. And the other thing that I found was really interesting was a conversation on social media ads, and really about the social media ads, trying to just share the joy of the schools and what's going on, as well as information sharing. Like, as I shared in the committee meeting, every time there's a half day, I seem to be caught off guard with it. So I'll be watching the social media accounts a little closer. Now over to our next committee, who was on December 8th, the policy committee, and that's Abby.
Thank you. Okay, so this is super quick highlights, because this is my first time. But it was a good meeting. We discussed transportation, which will have some changes coming in light of everything that Dr. Yanni just mentioned, going from 1 to 1.5 miles as a walk zone. We also talked a lot about safety and security, changing the time from board meetings, so now we're 7 o'clock, which is great, and hopefully we'll have more community engagement that way. We also kind of touched on some AI questions that we'll be delving into in the future, so check your notes on board docs for more information.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Mel for facilities, and Jason, if you want to chime in there, you're more than welcome to.
Hi, thank you. So, and believe it or not, I can be brief with this. So, our meeting was on December 14th, and the items that we discussed, we approved the list of bills, and we approved two 30-passenger buses due to a couple that are aging out. We are doing it now. It seems early because of supply line issues, and that we're hoping we'll have them by the beginning of next school year. There were some contracts for MCIU approved, and one that I think is really fascinating is Thinker Analytics, and this is for AP students in high school, where they will be able to map and work with their language, right, and create it into logical and learn how to properly format arguments, which I think is really interesting. There was a couple of contracts from E+ Barracuda and Nutanix for helping with security and archiving of our systems and emails. And then with RGS Associates, we have some, and not to exceed amount of $40,000 for bid to do some landscaping that was not properly done, and is part of our settlement that we're working with IMC. The following we had one change order, which we're all crossing our fingers. This is the last change order for Black Rock Middle School, and that was actually for a $1,000 credit. So for work that had not been that was not completed, and that's it. And the next meeting will be on January 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mal. Todd's going to bring us home. On December 15th, there was a finance committee meeting. So Todd, tell us about that amazing budget coming our way.
So that was a good discussion. It focused nearly entirely on the results of the external audit for the last fiscal year, which didn't show any red flags. Overall, the financial health of the district is good. We did spend some time talking about the debt, and that was interesting. I think the community might be interested. So we spend about 10% of our annual budget servicing the debt. So last year, that was about $30 million. $20 million of that was used to reduce our debt. So we went from $240 million of debt at the start of the year to $220 million of debt. The other 10% was interest. Of that $220 million, it's in various buckets that are now at fixed interest between 3% and 5%. There's no cheaper money available, so that'll stay that way for a while. But but we are on a trajectory to discharge quite a bit of that debt over the next 10 years, although there are some capital projects, roofing, paving, other things that are not going to be completely accommodated within the normal operating budget. We'll probably have to refinance and roll over some of that debt. But overall, it's a pretty extensive report. There's a lot of details in there. It's like 60-some pages. That's all available for anyone to read. But overall, everything's on track, and it was as expected.
Thank you. Okay, next, this meeting is flying along lovely. Audience recognition time. So at this time, we get to hear public comment. So if you'd like to speak at tonight's meeting and you have not signed up yet, please do so. Ms. LaPera is going to take your list and call you out in order. And then for those of us joining on the chat function on webinar on Zoom, it will be open for the next 10 minutes. The timer is going to appear on the screen any second now, and you can submit your questions and comments via the chat. Please be sure to make sure you give us your full name and where you live in the district. It doesn't have to be the street, just like I live in Narberth, I live in Gladwin, and we want to ensure that we know what area you're coming from. It helps to understand. Ms. LaPera, do we have any public comments? Yes, we do. Great.
We will start with Dina Yaski, then Mariam Vinci, and then Ruth Jenkins.
Good evening, I'm Dina Yaski from Wynwood. So for well over 30 years now, educators, parents, and community members in the know, like my dear neighbor Ruth Jenkins over there, have been calling for a full-day kindergarten program in Lower Merion School District. Research out like decades upon decades ago, and still valid obviously this day, verify that all kinds and categories of students do better in full-day programs. So much so that most places in this country have moved on to the fight for full-day preschool already. Short-term studies show increases in social and emotional development, achievement in reading and math across all demographic subgroups of student in full-day programs over half-day. Longitudinal studies show that these gains last even through third grade. Studies show that accelerated benefits can be seen in students on free and reduced lunch, and a reduction in achievement gaps with other racial and ethnic demographics as well, like L populations. Many of these are areas our district too struggles with and scratches their head when we get state testing results every year, trying to come up with programs and proposals and solutions to address these gaps. Full-day kindergarten reduces the need and expense for future interventions, including special education services, helps reduce the overrepresentation of students in color in these programs, and reduces the retention rate that causes social and emotional distress to students targeted for the solution to subpar performance. Full-day kindergarten also supports teachers by decreasing the number of students a teacher must teach, allowing them to make closer connections to students and families and provide better instruction to their children. Families benefit from full-day kindergarten by having a cohesive, safe, and engaging program for their children to spend the entire day without many transitions and exorbitant cost. None of us here really need to debate the benefits of full-day kindergarten. We just have for the longest debated when it should actually happen. I'm finally glad to say that with the continued work of people like Ruth and other community supporters, reinvigorated by the need in more recent years, led by many of our newest board members like Abigail and Sarah and Jason, plus the support and work of administration like Dr. Guadioso and Dr. McGloin, and the approval of our newest superintendent, I'm very hopeful tonight that our youngest learners will finally be getting what they need, full-day kindergarten, in 2024. There is no reason to delay, no proposed sacrifice that would outdo the benefit. I urge the board to do what is best for children, teachers, and families, and implement full-day kindergarten for next year. Thank you.
Next is Mariam, and then Ruth Jenkins, and then Allison.
Good evening. I'm Mariam Vinci from Bala Kinwood, and I really just want to say ditto to what Dina so beautifully said. But obviously I'm here tonight in support of full-day kindergarten. I understand that making this a reality in fall of '24 is no easy feat and will require trade-offs and heavy lifting. We all know by now the research and facts have proven that full-day kindergarten is what's best for our youngest learners. And we know that there's many reasons why this is the case. I have full confidence in you, the board, and all of our amazing Lmsb community that you'll be able to take on this challenge and make it a reality for the sake of our youngest learners. So thank you for bringing this forward for a vote tonight, and I urge you to please vote yes.
Ruth Jenkins from Wynwood. It's me again. And I miss everybody out there that's up here now, but that's where we wanted you to be. The full-day kindergarten, as everybody said, has been part of our drive, heavy drive now, and we're looking for a finality that it will come to pass. And a couple of other things that should not fall by the wayside would be, Oakwell, and reconsidering the lights on Arnold Field and the millions of dollars that would cost the school system. But the other real thing that I'm here tonight to talk about is Black Rock Middle School. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that I work for the Ardmore Food Pantry and that Welsh Valley students brought stuff. Well, I was over at the pantry unloading stuff when a school bus pulls up loaded with food. And they all came from Black Rock Middle School, and all the students came in and the teachers came in, and they had loaded pile, up the wall packages. So I promised them that I would say something tonight to the board, honoring their big effort to help the food bank. And I hope we can keep it going, because holiday time is a time that everybody kind of gives, but people are hungry all year long. So thank you, Black Rock Middle School.
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you for all the previous comments, too.
Allison next, I couldn't remember. Is that right? Okay, sorry. I'm just making sure I'm not cutting anyone.
Allison Brown.
Oh, no, that's good. No problem. Hi, everyone. Most of you see me. First, I want to welcome the new board members and say thank you so much to everyone for just giving up your time. I can't imagine doing that, but we really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Yanni, for the presentation and for answering my questions via email so quickly. I really appreciated that. So obviously, I'm here for full day K. I've been voicing my desire for full day K for about 2.5 years, pretty much as long as I've lived here. Narberth, I don't know if I said that. But I know, and I know these issues have been discussed for much longer, as has been mentioned. And I think we all understand that full day K comes with challenges outlined in that presentation. For instance, the one where Marion Elementary might have to partner with other school. I live 2 blocks from Marion Elementary. It's one of the big reasons that we moved to the house that we did. I can assure you that's no problem for me. Coming from a working mother of 3 very young kids. So I do think that the trade-offs are overwhelmingly well worth it, for all the benefits that Dina mentioned that we all know. So I greatly appreciate the effort so far. I'm excited about this vote, and just want to encourage you all to please vote yes for implementing full day K in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is all of our in-person comments.
Perfect. Now we move on to comments via the chat. So, Mr. Ruiz, can you please read the public comments that were submitted?
Yes, happy to. There were 3. Marion Williams, Bala Kinwood. I'm writing to add my voice to request that the district pursue the sale of the Oakwell property that many experts and township residents agree is unsuitable for playing fields. The Oakwell saga has probably already cost the district far too much in terms of the school board's time, effort, and money. Most importantly, the district has not truly demonstrated the need for such fields with any recent data and analysis that one would expect with such a proposal. One positive side effect of the Oakwell discussion is the awareness raised about climate change and the lack of sustainable practices in both the district and the township. I would like to propose that the school district, which is responsible for 250 acres in the township, address and implement the most important sustainable practices recommended by Professor Doug Tallamy of the University of Delaware. Reduce lawn area, limit or eliminate the use of pesticides, use native plants, a wide variety to diversify plant species and support insect species upon which life on our planet relies. Christina Chang, Penn Valley. I urge the board to reconsider the proposed change in the high school walk zone from 1 to 1.5 miles. 1.5 miles is a 32-minute walk in all weather conditions with heavy backpacks and double backpacks for athletes. This will result in more drivers on Montgomery Avenue, of parents having to drive their kids to school, resulting in more traffic and emissions. Please consider a compromise of 1.25 miles. David Connor, Ardmore. I am commenting in support of full-day kindergarten in Lower Merion School District. And that concludes the chat comments.
I'd like to respond to some of the comments. So when we think about full-day kindergarten, when we talk about academic achievement and what long-term academic achievement might look like, there are many factors that go into it other than just having a full-day kindergarten program. I want to be clear that a full-day kindergarten program allows us to have more instructional time with our kids, allows us kids to have specials, science, social studies, more robust experiences, especially as we're thinking about early literacy and early numeracy. I think it also allows us to get to know our kids better a year earlier and allow us to provide the supports and services that kids might need. I want to temper any expectations out there that all of a sudden we're going to see a huge bump in achievement. So that first group of kids that start in kindergarten won't be in third grade for some time. But one of the things that we're working on is focusing on how we report how students are doing in addition to PSSA, so that we can talk about real data. A couple other things. Oakwell, I've been really, really clear that when there's an update to give, wait, I want to go back to kindergarten. One of the things that, having implemented full-day kindergarten in other districts, just full-day kindergarten alone, just for anyone that's listening, doesn't reduce retentions, and it doesn't reduce disproportionality. It's what we actually do inside that program. So we have to make sure that we have really good practices inside that program, and that's why we'll be spending the rest of this year making sure that we have development for our teachers to make sure that we have as robust of a program as possible. Oakwell, when there's an update to give, we will absolutely give it. And I'm putting a pin in it. I'm not saying anything else about Oakwell until I have an update to give, and that's probably going to be many, many months away. Environmental awareness, to the suggestion for us to follow the advice of a professor that was mentioned in the comments. I think what's really important for everyone to remember is we have an obligation to do what's right for the environment. We also have the obligation to make sure that our students and staff are safe. We also have codes and requirements that we have to follow from the EPA and the township. And so I'm really thankful to our operations department for triangulating all of those different facets. Walk zones for high schools. I don't want to always be the bearer of bad news, but I will be. There is no way to start high school on time if we don't do things differently with transportation. So, you know, we looked at a number of different things. We would not be bringing something to the board. We wouldn't be bringing something out in public if we didn't feel that it was doable. And I can tell you that I'll have hundreds of emails next year at the beginning of the school year if kids are late to high school and then kids are late to elementary school. So as we move forward, we have to think differently about how we do things. Obviously, we'll be evaluating all of those decisions, but right now, I'm comfortable with a 1.5-mile walk zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. Thank you, Mr. Ruiz, for reading the comments as well. Okay, so now we get to move on with approving tonight's agenda. The following item is being removed from the consent agenda. Oh, board comments, I'm sorry.
Sorry, just before we got going, I wanted to call attention to some less happy news. Terry Quinlan, who was our lead supervisor of school health and student safety, recently passed away this month. And I wish I hadn't gotten to know her for the reason that she was sort of having a lot of FaceTime with the board. Is she really was one of our point people for running the district's COVID response, along with Megan and the rest of the COVID response team, for which I forget the name of the committee. Bless, that is, I'm glad that trauma's kind of gone away from the forefront of my brain. But Terry was incredibly dedicated to the work she did, and she did it exceptionally well. She had an incredible amount of care for the people she worked with and for the students and staff and community that she served. She led a team of absolutely dedicated nurses through an unprecedented, mind-boggling, terrifying time in the world and in our little community and in our school community. When COVID first hit and she first set up the COVID hotline where you would call in if your student had that, she and her staff of nurses were staffing that 24 hours a day at first. And it was a small group of nurses. She led an incredibly dedicated team to do incredibly important work. I was very, very sad to hear of her passing. She will be greatly missed, and she really made a difference to our community, so I wanted to recognize that.
Thank you very much, Nina. That was beautiful. Now we move on to the agenda. So the following item is being removed from the consent agenda. Item 14.B, authorize the administration to implement universal full-day kindergarten effective with the 2024-2025 school year. Dr. Yanni, will you please read the recommended action? Sorry, yeah.
The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors authorize the administration to implement universal full-day kindergarten effective with the 24-25 school year.
Board, any questions from the board?
Sorry, you get to hear from me again. I am going to really try hard not to cry. This is like this is the reason that I ran for school board the first time and the second time. But one of my very first memories of being a Lower Merion resident is going to my local polling place and asking a school board candidate what they thought of full-day kindergarten, because I had a then 2-year-old, and he had no idea. Nobody did. He's like, that sounds good. Sure, why not? And every person I talked to on the board, in the administration, whatever, everybody was like, sure, that's a nice idea, but it's never going to happen. And with a lot of support from our community, from the board, from the administration, from Dr. Yanni, and from being that annoying person in every single meeting that would ask, but how would that change if we had a full-day kindergarten curriculum instead? I really urge the board to vote in favor of extending this program. It will make such a difference to so many in our community. Can't even recall the number of conversations I've had with families that my family missed out. I know 4 of us up here have kindergartners this year that just missed out. And it's still so important that we look back and make this program a reality for our families that are coming up behind us, and really make this a complete community for our youngest learners. So please vote yes.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Good, okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda via consent?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Mr. Ruse, can you please give a report on the Sunshine Act?
Yes, the board did meet tonight prior to this meeting in executive session regarding labor relations matters.
Thank you. Okay. Upcoming board and committee meetings will be held in the boardroom unless otherwise noted. Monday, January 22nd is the regular business board meeting at 7 p.m. Committee meetings that will be recorded and live stream come up on Friday, January 12th. That's the policy committee at 8:30 a.m. Tuesday, January 16th will be the curriculum committee meeting at 7 p.m. Just want to say that out loud because it's a time change. Thursday, January 18th, facilities and purchasing committee will be meeting at 8:30 a.m. Friday, January 19th is the finance committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, January 31st is the equity and anti-racism committee meeting at 7 p.m. That's via Zoom. And there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Huzzah.